Well, hello everybody. Welcome back to the channel. And I just wanted to make a shorter talking video this time. Now, as you can see, here on the Sunshine Coast, the past couple of days, we've got a lot of snow. Quite a lot of snow. And especially even more so, I'm in Gibson's right now, but even more so down where I live in Howe Sound, um, we got even more. And but I was off work for a couple of days, so I was back down there while I was off, and I knew I was going to be working after those days off, so I called a friend who has a large truck and arranged for a ride so that I could get in and work. And I just wanted to talk about, the title of this video is "The Weather Isn't Small Talk Anymore," because as somebody like myself that's talked to all sorts of people and is interested in human beings and the different ways that that people look at things and in different cultures, whatnot, things like that, I always was sort of trained myself from the statement of, when I was younger, several years back, there was always a term saying, small talk, like it's so boring, it's so shallow, it has no depth to it, it's just an awkward conversational starter kind of a thing. And the weather was always like the main target for that statement. People would always say, oh, like, open-minded people or whatever, it's so annoying when people try to make conversation with them about the weather. And like I said, it's such small talk. It's so shallow. It has no meaning to it. It's just a cheap way to pass off an awkward moment where there might not be talking or something like that, right? And I personally don't really care what conversation starters are to me. I never really did. It didn't bother me if somebody wanted to small talk about the weather in a elevator or in a long lineup at a store or whatever, anything like that. But it seemed like it was a statement that a lot of people made. So I really trained myself as somebody who really does and did, even more so back then, care about learning about other people and conversing with people and whatnot. It was like never bring up the weather. Like it could be a big detriment to getting any sort of real knowledge or interesting conversation out of anybody. But what I've found now is I'm going to leave all of the politics and the environmental concerns and thoughts out of this. But what I've noticed is that the weather nowadays is such a hot topic, and it's such a deep concern for most people, or a lot of people anyway, that when the weather gets brought up, it's really not small talk anymore. Like, when I'm around doing my things and someone brings up the weather, it's almost never small talk anymore. It's actually, they speak with much concern. Like, people are terrified of the weather these days. They speak with so much concern and so much fear about this, whether it's the hot in the summertime or the snow and the ice and the cold in the wintertime, or the warmer winters that we've been having, and all these sorts of things, right? Which we actually have. I mean, I don't even think anybody expected the snow. It's been a very mild, warm winter here, and not even that much rain, honestly, to tell you the truth, like there normally is. I mean, still a lot, but not as much as it historically was. So it's a very heavy concern, and when you talk to people about this, it's you do learn a lot about them. They get into the political beliefs they have. They get into the spiritual beliefs that they have. They get into the environmental and scientific knowledge they have, and where they think the future's going, and what they think needs to be done, and how these people over here are doing all the wrong things, and these people over here are doing the right things, but these people over here could adopt some of these people over here's idea, and vice versa, and it, basically the system is going about everything all wrong. or all right, or you'll learn that somebody is heavily into conspiracies or something like that, and they say it's all a lie. This is all part of something else, and blah blah blah, so on and so forth. Like I said, I have my personal beliefs. If you've been watching my channel for any length of time, I'm sure you can decipher that. Um, but I'm not gonna get into any sort of, like I said, um, political thoughts on what's going on, environmental thoughts on what's going on. I'm not even going to talk about global warming and all of that kind of stuff in what my thoughts are on that, because that's not what the video is about. This is more of just a discussion video about people. And it's like, I don't watch the news, I really don't, but I know some people that do, so if I'm visiting with people or whatnot, I see it on there, and the news reporters and that are so intense about the weather. It isn't just like a quick weather forecast like it used to be, or it isn't just like a small little discussion amongst everything else. It's like the whole news, like the main topic of the whole day is all about the weather. And gosh, the names they've got for these things, like so far I've heard Arctic outflow, I believe Arctic vortex is even one of the names that they've, and this is all referring to different weather patterns and different temperatures and whatnot. But yeah, you've got your Arctic outflow, your Arctic vortex. In the summertime with the heat, you've got the heat dome, and in the rain, you've got the atmospheric river. And there might be a couple. Those are like the main ones I remember. There might be a couple other ones too that I'm freezing on the names of. But yeah, some very intense word use for the weather. And it's like, even like, think of a heat dome. Like, that's a very fear-inducing, terrifying name. And generally, I'm pretty sure Stephen King wrote a book, and it ended up. I never read it. I never even watched the movie, I don't think. But there was a Stephen King book that was eventually made into a movie called The Dome, or Under the Dome, or something like that. And I'm not entirely sure what it's about, but it's obviously a horror story if it's Stephen King. And just, yeah, heat dome, that sounds very much like that. It sounds like something that you would see in it's like the title of a horror movie or a horror novel or something like that. It almost sounds like some sort of Eli Roth slasher torture device movie or something like that. So it's a hot topic now, and so I'm gonna cut it off there. What are your thoughts on this? I'm open to all, and just because I didn't talk about the politics and the environment and all that kind of stuff in the comments, you're totally open to do that. I'm open to everybody's thoughts. I just wanted to veer away from that in this video, because that would categorize the video as one thing when it's mainly just um, how I talk to a lot of people, and the weather is, as I repeat, not small talk anymore. If you talk about the weather with people, you actually learn a lot about them and where they stand on things, and what their consistencies and inconsistencies on this, that, and the other are. And they speak with fear in their eyes. They speak with sincerity, and they're on it. They're studying it. They're reading about it. They're watching it on the news. They're obsessing over it on social media. It's a heavy concern to a lot of people, and just wanted to throw that out there as an observation I've made. I'm sure a lot of you out there have observed the same thing, and I'd love to hear your thoughts. Thank you very much for watching. I'm Kirk Prosick. Please come back for more.